Welcome back to the Selling Point podcast and happy New Year's to all of you. My name is Anthony Nix and I am the founder of Transformative Sales Systems. And now, if you're a CEO or a business owner who owns sales and you're starting into this new year, this episode is absolutely for you. If you're listening to this in early January, chances are you're back from the holidays. You're well rested and ready to go. Your inbox is on fire, and you're trying to figure out what the year is actually going to look like. And if we're all being honest, you might already be a little bit uneasy about sales. So here's the reality that most CEOs won't say out loud. The holiday breaks their sales engine. Deals stall, pipelines age, buyers change priorities, and then everyone comes back and says, all right, let's get after it. Well, that approach is exactly how Q1 gets lost. So today we're talking about something I call the sales reset after the holidays. This is not a kickoff meeting. This isn't about motivation. This is about returning to fundamentals with discipline and urgency so Q1 doesn't drift by. I'm going to walk you through 5 things you as a CEO or owner should be focused on right now if you want a predictable revenue in Q1. So let's get started. So the first thing that I suggest is a pipeline reality check. The first thing any CEO, every CEO should be doing after the holidays is cleaning up the pipeline. And I want to be very blunt here. Most pipelines are lying to you. And it's not because salespeople are bad people. It's because deals sit in stages that haven't earned that status. Close dates are just guesses, and forecasts are built on optimism instead of actual evidence. Then the holidays happen, and nobody touches the CRM for 2 weeks. Here's what I tell CEOs that I work with. Stop looking at the size of the pipeline and start looking at the quality of the pipeline. You need to ask some simple questions of your sales team. When was the last customer interaction? What problems are they actually trying to solve? Who's involved in the decision within the client? What is the next step? And has it been put on the calendar? Is it scheduled? What did the customer say about timing? Now, if your salesperson can't answer those clearly, the deal is not forecastable. Full stop. And now here's kind of the tough love part. A stalled deal is not an asset to you. It's just a distraction. Cleaning the pipeline doesn't make you weaker. It makes you honest. And honesty is how you're going to regain control. Now, the next thing would be rebuilding the sales rhythm. And that's your second priority after the holidays. Most companies let the calendar run them. Meetings creep back in, internal noise ramps up, sales execution gets squeezed into whatever time is actually left. And that's completely backwards. Sales needs a cadence, especially in Q1, at the start of the year. At a minimum, you need at least these 3 things. A weekly sales meeting that actually moves deals forward, weekly one-on-ones with each salesperson, and a short weekly review of pipeline math. Now, let me say this clearly. If your weekly sales meetings is just a status update, you're wasting time. Sales meetings should be working sessions, deal strategy, objection handling, skill development, clear priorities for the week. And one-on-ones matter more than most CEOs honestly realize. This is where you manage behavior, not just the results. This is where deals get unstuck and expectations get reinforced. Now, if you skip cadence, you're choosing for things to be crazy and chaotic. And chaos always shows up in your forecast. Now, the third thing that we need to be doing is kind of a reset of the sales message. You need to do that right after the holidays. January buyers are different than October buyers. Budgets reset, priorities shift. Some prospects feel pressure, others feel cautious. But one thing is consistent. Buyers are not interested in vague value propositions. If your sales team leads with features and products, and we're great at what we do, you're going to hear price objections and stalled deals. Your team needs to lead with outcomes. What are the problems that we solve? And who do we solve them for? Why should they care right now? And what proof do we have that we can solve those problems? This is where discovery in sales conversations is so important. It matters so much. Too many sales calls stay just surface level. The salesperson is polite, the prospect is polite, and nobody talks about impact. Your team needs to ask better questions. What's this problem costing you? What happens if nothing changes? Who else in the organization is feeling the pain? How are you going to make a decision? When the sales conversations improve, pipeline quality improves. When pipeline quality improves, your forecast becomes believable. Now, here's the fourth thing. Now, pipeline generation with intent. Let's call it that. Now, this is where I see CEOs get really frustrated. They look at a thin pipeline and say, we just need more prospecting. Well, that's not really a plan. That's more of a wish. That's hopium. A sales reset after the holidays requires a focused Q1 pipeline plan. You need three things: a defined target account list, a clear first meeting offer, weekly activity standards tied to outcomes. If your team can't name 50 or 100 target accounts that match your best customer profile, that ideal client profile that you should have developed, your pipeline is always going to be inconsistent. And your first meeting ask should be small and valuable, not a demo, not an hour-long pitch, a short conversation with a very clear agenda. Then you set standards, not hopes, standards. How many new conversations are we going to have this week? How many first meetings are we going to have this week? How many qualified opportunities are we going to create this week? Revenue math, if the math doesn't work, pretending about it isn't going to fix it. Now, here's kind of the last thing that we need to be doing here in Q1 after the holidays. And this is about accountability. And this is where a lot of small and medium-sized businesses tend to struggle. Salespeople follow what gets inspected, not what is encouraged. You need simple scorecard. List activity, has some leading indicators on it, and also has the outcomes. And you need to define what being on track really means. What does it look like? What do you got to hit? What are the targets that you've got to achieve? If commitments don't matter, then nothing matters in a sales organization. Accountability doesn't mean being harsh. It means being clear, coaching when needed, course correcting early, and addressing fit issues before they become culture problems. Good salespeople really do want structure. They really do want a sales process to follow. And the wrong ones, the wrong salespeople, they will avoid it. So let's recap. A sales reset after the holidays is about cleaning the pipeline, rebuilding your sales rhythm, resetting the message, attacking pipeline generation with full intent and a plan behind it, and setting up real accountability. This isn't about starting over. It's about leading with discipline. And if you're a CEO listening to this, here's really the bottom line. You don't get the sales team you want. You get the sales team you lead. Now, if you would like help applying this to your business, I offer a 30-minute sales reset call that we can do. And we'll look at your pipeline reality, your Q1 targets, and we'll see what needs to be changed and changed right now. So if you look in the description below, you'll find a link to be able to set up one of those 30-minute calls and other links to information on our website. I appreciate all of you, and thanks for listening to the Selling Point podcast. If this episode helped you, if you got something from it, why don't you consider sharing it with another CEO who owns sales, just like you, and dealing with the same issues? They'll appreciate it. So, in the next episode, we will see you guys again. Onward.